What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I did want to go over 7 more rare cars I did end up getting here in Forza Horizon 5, and I gotta admit, I feel like in some ways it really is going to confirm that honestly I'm kind of an auction house sniper. The first car here is going to be the Ford Focus ST. This thing is sweet. I did see something about the new one being in this game, so I did have to go after it. As you guys will see, that really nice engine bay there. But you know what? I gotta admit something here. This is going to be the Ford Focus ST, obviously. We all do know this car is not in the United States. I mean, it is going to be right-hand drive for one. It is kind of odd because I have seen a lot of Ford Focuses everywhere. I do know people love this car and stuff. I really find it odd how Ford was like, nah, we're going to bring this overseas. I don't think anybody wants it. But yet, they're not really doing all that great with Mach-E sales. So, I bet you they'd be selling more of these. What do y'all think? But seriously, this is a pretty dope looking car. Now, for me to get this one, it did cost me around $20 million. I had a feeling that was going to happen. I also knew this car was going to be very rare, and in ways, I'm not going to lie, I didn't think I'd actually get one. The reason for that is I do know a lot of people probably aren't selling this car. It is probably going to be on the rare side. And when I was looking stuff up about the Ford Focus, I kind of had a feeling that, yeah, this thing's probably going to be difficult. Like, maybe I can get a cheaper one. Maybe I probably won't be able to. And well, it turns out I did end up putting that 220 million. It was a bit before I did end up stumbling across one. And then boom, guys, I did end up finding a Ford Focus ST. This thing is sweet, man. Looking at this car really does confuse me, though. Like, why is Ford not selling these in the United States, man? This car is dope. Really nice looking hatchback. It is going to be four-door right there alone. I do like the way the interior also looks in this vehicle, even though it is right-hand drive. I do also like how the little bar in the middle there is actually moving. Let me see. Yeah, it moves. That's pretty cool. So it is going to show the speed there. You see the Ford Performance. Honestly, a pretty nice interior for the most part. And with that, if you guys are wondering, no, I did not engine swap this car. I did not like doing that with many of these. Instead, I was like, all right, let me get like an 800 build. Let me leave the car alone. Let me add some parts to it. So far, I think this car is honestly pretty dang solid. And overall, I feel like a lot of people are probably going to try to get the ST and also the Fiesta, which you are going to see later in this video. But this thing is going to handle very well. It is also going to be pretty quick, and I do find this car pretty dang fun to drive on top of it. I would say a lot of people, if you guys are going after this thing in the auction house, this might end up sounding dumb, but I would recommend putting that thing on 20 million. That way you have a better chance of seeing one. And some of it really is going to be the right moment, also like the right time and timing in that stuff in order to get one of these vehicles, but I do think it is possible. And I feel like me getting a lot of these rare cars is not only going to show players that it's possible, with me being a new player in Forza, because I've literally been playing the game a month now, pretty much since it did end up coming out, and I do have a lot of the rare vehicles, and I'm so dang glad I have them. There is going to be a few more I want to get, but honestly, I think I have most of them. Anyway, though, let's move over to the next vehicle right now. But now moving over to the next vehicle on the list, now I'm going to be real and say I wasn't going to include this car in the video, but I was like, you know what, no, I feel like the Soarer GT is going to be pretty dang rare. Do let me know in the comments below, guys. I do know for a fact this car is pretty old in the game as well, and I would probably guess many people probably don't own it, and if they do, they probably forget that they own it. But funny part is if you do own a few of these, remember, guys, that this thing is going to sell for $20 million in the auction house. So if you do have a few of these laying around, it wouldn't be a terrible idea to try to get some more money from them or something like that, or at least give other players a chance to get it. And I'm sure a lot of people would be happy to spend around $20 million on this thing. Funny part is, I was going through the auction house looking at different vehicles, trying to get like a 4Runner, trying to get the other Chaser Twin Turbo, which I finally got that car as well. But with that, I did want to get a Soarer. I do know this car is going to be based off the Lexus S300, I believe. So I would say this one's going to be like apparently a newer one or something. But I did end up getting this car for around $8 million, guys. I felt super lucky when I saw it, and I happened to go over it. Funny part is I did end up backing out, and legit the car was right there. I'm like, no, 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 no. Went back in and I managed to buy this thing. I was so dang hyped up because I knew I would probably never see one again. And if I did, I would most likely have to go, well, that one already sold and stuff like that, or spend 20 million on it. But luckily, I didn't have to do that. So spawning outside here with the Soarer GT. Now, funny part is I was wrong about it. This car wasn't 8 million. I actually got it for 5 million. When I did end up backing out, I was like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to get this thing. But boom, it happened to still be there. And I would probably say it's more of going to be luck than anything else. I mean, I feel like a lot of people are probably not really aiming for this car. Like, let me know in the comments, guys. Do you own this vehicle? Do you want to get it? I feel like it is going to be very rare, but a lot of players probably have it. And at least, you know, they're not the newer players who started like I do probably don't have it. But if you do have this vehicle, I'm going to guess and say a lot of people are like, yo, I guess I don't even drive this car or anything. Let me sell it. Or I am willing to bet that maybe some people are probably going to look at this video and go, oh, the Soarer GT. Do I have that thing? Probably going to check their inventory and boom, it's right there. They might even have two of them. Then they can actually sell one for around 20 million. But I gotta admit, this is one of the cars I did want to go after. I feel like it has a really great style to it. I've always liked the Lexuses and stuff, and I saw the Toyota, and I feel like this car is a really good looking like overall design. I do like how I have the carbon hood on it. I feel like the wheels fit it well. I have the regular blue color, which is the OME color. Nothing too insanely done to this thing, but overall, I think this car is pretty dope. But now moving over to the next vehicle here. Now this one I gotta admit is probably going to be one of my personal favorites in the entire list here. And the reason for that is probably the fact that, well, many games do not have Subarus in them to begin with. And the fact that we have the brand new WRX is honestly pretty dang awesome. Now I do know a lot of people are going to have mixed opinions on the way this car looks and stuff. But you know what, guys? Wait, hold on. Let me see this boxer motor. Hold a minute. I am moving around too much there. There we go. Look at that. Look at that detail. That's really cool. And yes, the car is stock. I did not engine swap it. I cannot engine swap the Subaru. I gotta leave this thing as is. But as you guys will probably first notice that, yes, I did end up adding a livery to it, which is going to be from someone that did end up making it. You guys can find that one there because I'm sure a lot of people probably use it. But the fenders are going to be paint matched to the vehicle. That was the biggest thing people didn't like, including myself. But here, let me close these two doors real quick, though, so you guys can see that. But look how nice this car looks with painted fenders, bro. You would think that Subaru would look at something and go, yo, people seem to like this. But luckily, you could pretty much just buy those fenders online, so it is going to make it a tad better. Now, the biggest thing with the WRX, though, is this car is going to be pretty dang rare. And I do know a lot of people, from what I have been noticing on Reddit, Discord, I even was seeing this on the auction house thing, that people really want the Subaru, specifically this one. I was noticing a lot of people are like, yo, does anybody have the 22 WRX? I really want one. I'm willing to trade one of my rare cars if you have it and stuff like that. So it does seem like a lot of people do want this thing. I was like, all right, let me go after a WRX. Maybe I can get one. Maybe I probably won't. But of course, going in there, I was seeing cars sell for 138K, 400K, 700. I think I managed to get this one for a decent price of around 1 million, which I will have a screenshot of that if you guys want to check it out, though. But I was so dang glad I managed to snipe one of these. Funny part is, this car was pretty hard to snipe, bro. I was having issues getting it, and I think that's because everybody wants it. And on top of that, the car is also going to be cheaper. So I do admit that's something I really was thinking about a bit, guys, and I am curious to know your thoughts on this because I do know a lot of people love Subaru. I mean, heck, most of the time I go into the comment section of Motorfest, a lot of people are kind of like, yo, can we get Subaru? What happened to Subaru? And I don't think that's ever going to happen again because of something with like the Crew 1 or whatever. But the thing is, though, a lot of people are going to be a fan of Subaru, and a lot of people have been asking for them. And I feel like Forza is going to be a great game for that. You're going to have the 04, you got the 08 models, you also have the brand new one. I do not know of another game right now that has the brand new Subaru WRX in it. Despite what a lot of people say about this car, like they might not be the biggest fan of it, or maybe they don't really like the way this car looks and stuff. I admit when you do paint the fenders on this thing, and I did end up having the gold wheels because of, you know, the STI thing, which I do know there's not an STI WRX, which is honestly a pretty big L there, Subaru. You should have an STI version of this, bro. You'd sell so many of them. I do know this car isn't going to be insanely priced for what it is. At least a lot of people are going to get the manual. I highly doubt a lot of people want to get the CVT version of it, and they'd rather get the 6-speed. But the point is, a lot of players have been looking to get something like a WRX in a racing game, and I feel like Forza is going to be a really great ground for that, especially if you're a fan of them. You can also go in there and build something like a rally version of one, or even get the old Legacy or something. So at least there's going to be even more options for this car. And now moving over to the fourth vehicle here. As I did mention to y'all, I could not leave out the Ford Fiesta ST because I did end up showing the Focus ST, which I would probably say both cars are most likely going to both probably be on the rare side. I mean, I do know a lot of people are talking about these cars and stuff. I was noticing in the auction house Reddit, and a lot of people are like, yo, does anybody have the Focus or the Fiesta and stuff? I really want one. So I would say these cars are going to be very sought after. Once again, I did end up spending $20 million on the ST here, and honestly, I do not regret it. Not only is this going to be a really cool looking little hatchback, but it's also going to sound really cool, and I feel like the car is pretty dang fun to drive. And I kind of had a feeling that wanting to get this car is most likely going to cost another $20 million right beside the Ford Focus. I'm like, you know what, let me just do it. I want to add this car to my collection. I was going through, and turns out this car wasn't actually that bad to get. I think some of that might probably be around most likely me having some luck there, because we all do know it's like a timing thing and all that, but I gotta admit the ST is pretty dang dope. And what's kind of hilarious is I feel like the Fiesta is once again going to fall into something like the Focus, to where you look at this car and go, okay, well, this thing is going to be overseas. I mean, it's right-hand drive, as you guys will, see here, just like the Focus. But why isn't this car in the United States, man? Like, I do understand Ford was trying to get away from the car thing, I guess, and going toward the SUVs and then having just the Mustang, but I feel like they were still selling the STs. I do think they'd be probably making a good amount of money with them. And also, speaking of that, this car is going to be B700. That was kind of the class I wanted this thing to be. And now I know this might sound kind of dumb, but I was kind of aiming at keeping the car more, I guess you could say, realistic in its power. I could easily make this thing like an A level, but I feel like it's too quick. I wanted to leave this thing stock and kind of make it like upgraded a bit with the regular motor, which is something I've been noticing I've been doing a lot in this game. Do let me know if you guys also do that. Like, I do know, don't get me wrong, engine swapping to different motors is going to make some cars insanely quick and also much better, but for some odd reason, I kind of like having the stock motor in there. I don't know why, I just kind of do. I think it's kind of dope having the car being built, having the regular engine sound in the car and all that is pretty awesome, but overall, I feel like the Fiesta ST is going to be a pretty dope B-level vehicle. On top of that, it's also going to be a cool looking hatchback. In fact, there's a few of these I do know around where I do live. One of them sounds pretty dang insane. It is not going to be straight pipe, but it does have an exhaust on it. Sounds pretty dope, and it's also going to have like a turbo blow off. So I gotta admit, it's a pretty cool little car. If Ford was to bring this back into the US, I feel like they'd probably sell a lot of them. But now let's move over to the next vehicle here, which is going to be the Honda Ridgeline Baja truck. Now, I know what you guys are going to say, this thing is insanely random, but this was actually one of the trucks I really did want in the game. I knew this thing was going to be tough to get, and I was like, you know what, let me get some patience, maybe one will end up popping up. I did end up seeing one, and guess what, I lost it, saw another one, lost it. I was like, man, this thing's going to be hard to get, but I can get in the, oh, that's pretty dope. Did not realize that. But look at the interior in this thing, though, man, before I get into that. Looks pretty dang dope. It's obviously going to be a racing truck. Who would have thought? Just a few things might have gave it away, right? I mean, maybe it was going to be the fact that there's no doors. Maybe it's going to be the big suspension, the big tires. That is a very big light. Is that a jack right there, bruh? That is a jack. What in the world? Just noticed that. That's pretty dope. Although I don't know if you're going to want to jack one of these up with how the suspension is. That would be really not fun, I would say. But overall, though, this was one of the trucks I did want to end up getting, guys. Again, I know this thing is probably going to be random, but I did manage to end up seeing one in the auction house. Funny part is, when I did end up seeing it, there was going to be two of them. And yes, before you say it, this truck does not sell for a lot of money at all. I think the max out I think I could get for is like $230K or something. So yeah, it's going to be very cheap. And one thing I noticed, which you will end up seeing in a different vehicle in a separate video, is some of these sought after vehicles that are going to be cheaper. I did notice they're going to be even harder to get because a lot more players have $230K laying around, and they most likely don't have $20 million laying around, so I knew this thing was going to be tough. But overall, though, this truck is going to be very cool. It's going to add on to one of my favorite things about Forza, which is the off-roading. I do love messing around. Don't get me wrong, I love driving cars on the road in this game, but being able to do things like this and driving different trophy trucks and unlimited buggies pretty much make me like Forza basically more than any other racing game on the market because, well, no other racing game can allow me to drive this doing this, so you know what I'm saying? And being able to drive this truck really does add on to it. But if you guys want this thing, the one thing I can recommend, though, is do not give up in the auction house. This truck is very rare. I think I've only saw a total of maybe 5 of these so far within the time I was going after them. It was pretty much around maybe 2 or 3 days I was going in and out looking and see if I can get one. And as I did mention, I did see a few pop up, but every time they did, I would either back out, which was honestly really frustrating, or I was not fast enough to get it. Luckily, though, when 2 popped up, I was able to get one of them. Funny part is I did end up buying both, but sold the second one right after. I don't know why I bought both. I was like, oh, let me see, mess around, and boom. I somehow got buyout successful on both of them. But either way, though, this thing is dope. And if you're going to be into off-roading, I feel like this truck is pretty dang good. Although I am going to admit I'm most likely going to engine swap it and put the V8 motor in it with the all-wheel drive. I feel like with that, it's going to make it even more competitive. And then for the next car here on the list, though, is also going to be a personal favorite of mine. I really don't know what it is with me and old Mercedes or like the old Bentley, for example, but the 500e right here is going to be such a great looking car. I do know people are going to be like, dude, what do you like about this thing? Honestly, I really don't know. I just like the overall body design of it. And there's something about the 90s era of Mercedes, man. I just really like them. Personally, one of my favorite ones, though, is going to be, I think it's the W124 diesel motor. Those cars are so dang dope. I believe the 500e has a, I think it's a V8, which for me, I did end up leaving this car. I pretty much have it like a 799B level. I didn't want to go too crazy with it, kind of just like upgraded it a bit. It really is more of going to be like a cruising type of car for me anyway. I don't know what it is, guys, but the style of it, really love the interior. You see like the wood finish there. You can obviously see this thing is an automatic, which is a good thing. Kind of glad that it is for that matter, but we're going to see the really nice dash there. I think that's pretty dope. Is that going to say 50,000 miles? Dang, bro, you were driving the car, man. I wonder if that's going to go up when I use it. Guess we're going to find out. But you're then also going to see like the door detail there. This thing is such a great looking car. Now, I do know another Mercedes people really do love. I do know in this game it's not going to be quote unquote rare, but still one of my other favorites is going to be the 190e, which is also going to be in Need for Speed Unbound. That is going to be another Mercedes I absolutely love, guys. I don't know what it is about the body style, but I feel like the 500e is so dang dope, kind of like alongside the other 90s or even like the 190e for that matter. But look at this thing, such a great looking car. I don't know why I kind of like this one more than the newer ones. I do also like the E63S, but that is going to be a different car, man. But I can also now see why a lot of people have been going after this car, and it is probably going to be fairly difficult to get. And you guys can also get very lucky on this car, and I did end up getting it. I managed to get this thing for $3 million. When I saw that pop up, I did end up backing out, and man, that was a very bad feeling. Luckily, though, I did end up spawning back into it. I did get this thing, and boom, I was so dang hyped up. Funny part is right after that, I did end up seeing another one pop up. Guess what? 138K. Kind of hilarious because this car literally sells for, what is it, like $20 million? And I can see why people love this thing. And you know what, though? I kind of feel like I'm probably not going to be alone in the aspect of people going, well, no, Blocked, I also want to get older cars as well. And I have been noticing a lot more people going after some of the older cars instead of driving the new ones. And I feel like this Mercedes is most likely going to be right behind it. Even driving this thing in the interior view, man, it feels really nice. Now, I do understand it's not going to be like a racing type of build. I mean, heck, it's going to be $699. It really doesn't look like a race car, but at least you could probably still use it. It is going to be a retro saloon, so there is going to be other cars that do fit it. But do let me know your thoughts on the 500e in the comments below. I am really curious. Do you guys have this car? Do you like it? What is your overall thoughts on the older Mercedes compared to the new ones? I do know I probably see a lot more people driving something like the E63, but if I was to choose, I'd most likely drive around in something like this one over some of the newer cars that are now out. Alright guys, so for the final vehicle here in this list, which is going to be the 7th car. Now this one I was kind of on the fence about, but I did end up finally getting one of these. What did I... Oh, I took the entire hood off, bro. Look at the front of this thing. My goodness, that's wild looking. The Hot Wheels Trans Am is probably one of the craziest looking cars in this game. I had to include it in here. This thing is going to have a crazy looking body kit, really dope wheels and tires on it. It is obviously going to be a race car, guys. Like, look at the interior, man. Like, it looks absolutely insane. This is one of those cars I was kind of like, all right, can I get one? maybe. You know what I mean? Like, I knew not a lot of people probably wanted to buy this car, or maybe not a lot of people were selling it. So I kind of did the one thing. Wait a second. Does this door not open, bro? Or am I tripping? Oh, I am tripping. Nice. I thought there was no door there. But getting into this thing, though, just check this thing out, guys. But I did want to say before, I did end up spending 20 million on this car. I'm going to say that's probably most likely the cheapest you can get it. Don't get me wrong, you could probably get lucky and maybe see one for like 100 or a couple 100,000 maybe, or maybe see one for like a few million. But I was like, you know what, let me throw 20 million at this car. I know it's very rare. I was looking at forums and stuff on it, and I was like, no, 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 no. I am currently on a mission right now to get a lot of the rare cars. I'm trying to snipe a lot of them, so this thing was kind of on my radar. So far, I'm really not regretting it. With that, I also did end up doing an all-wheel drive swap on it. Figured that would be a good idea. I put the 7-speed transmission for more speed, but man, just look at this car, bro. It is so dang wide and crazy looking. You can definitely tell this thing does not belong in like a regular category. Look at it. So crazy looking. It's going to be an S2 level, and yes, it's going to be very quick. And I would say this thing is going to handle very well on top of it. In fact, I feel like a lot of people probably want to get this car. Maybe they don't want to pay for it. Maybe they haven't found one yet. But I gotta admit, guys, this is one of those vehicles kind of alongside a few others. I was like, well, let me just try, okay? Let me have a little patience. Let me not give up on this. Maybe one will end up spawning in. I was actually editing one of my videos, and I was like, wait a minute. Well, let me just log on real quick and see what happens. Funny part is I logged on, and boom, this thing legit was in the shop the second I hit it on there. I was like, oh, let me just get that, and I did end up getting it. Pretty awesome how that actually worked out. You really never know. It's kind of like a timing thing. But I would say a lot of people are like, man, I'm never going to get that car. I'm never going to get this one. But I feel like in some ways I might end up being one of the people that people might look at and go, yo, if this guy can do it, I can also get these. That's what I was doing when I was looking at other people. I knew these cars were going to be possible to get. I just knew I couldn't give up. And I feel like, guys, I can maybe inspire other people to not give up, go after some of these cars, because they really are going to be possible. There's a few other rare cars I want to get in the auction house, but so far I've pretty much only seen one. One of those, if you are wondering, is going to be the Plymouth Fury. I want that car because I was going to do a video about it, because that thing is basically Christine if you haven't seen that movie. But the other thing I wanted to get was going to be the Polaris RZR. It's like the 1000 Pro Ultimate or something like that. It's a really odd vehicle. If anybody has the RZR and wants to sell it to me, I'd be happy to try to grab that thing. Definitely looking for one. I do know it's going to be rare, but the same part of those is kind of applying to this Pontiac. I'm like, you know what? Let me not give up. Maybe they will end up showing up, and if they do, I will probably make videos about both of those, or at least, you know, once I do have a video about the Fury talking about that thing, then yeah, you're going to be like, all right, bro probably got it. Besides that, guys, do let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Do you have any of the vehicles I do end up having here in this video? I do know for a fact a lot of people want the Ford Focus ST and also the lovely Fiesta, and I was seeing apparently this Pontiac here is going to be very sought after, so if you guys are trying to get them, definitely keep at it. I feel like if I can get them, anybody can. And with me being a brand new Forza Horizon 5 player, I feel like what I have accomplished so far in this game is, I feel like it's decently impressive. I'm not trying to say I'm doing the best or anything, but I feel like I've done decently well so far for being a new player. I have a lot of the rare vehicles. In fact, I think most of the cars that can be 20 million, I probably have around like 90% of them. So I'm pretty dang impressed so far. A lot of the vehicles I am now going after are going to be on the cheaper side, but with that, they're also going to be harder to get. Do let me know which car out of the list here is going to be your favorite. Do you guys have all of them? Is there like a certain car you want? And what is going to be one of your favorite cars in the entire game? It doesn't matter if it's rare. I am curious to see what everybody does end up saying.